Yo, what's going on everybody? It's your boy Naruto Explained here, bringing you guys another Boruto 2 Blue Vortex discussion. Today I want to talk to you guys about the future of Himawari now that she and Boruto, they've been reunited at long last, and discuss whether or not it makes sense for Boruto to take Himawari with them after the battle with Jura and Hidari, and what changes if they do leave the village together. Also, as a quick announcement, since that 2.5-hour Boruto video did very well, I've got a couple of 1-hour videos both for Naruto content and Boruto content that are being edited right now by two of the absolute best editors on the channel who are working on those videos right now, and when they're completed I'll have them up on the Patreon for a month before they get released here on YouTube, since the patrons are the ones who are paying for both of these videos. Right now they're about 25% done, but I believe they're banger topics that I think a lot of you guys are really going to enjoy. Just like I hyped up that 2.5-hour Boruto video, I am hyping these up because again, these are two of the absolute best editors I've ever worked with, and they are cooking right now, and I do not say that lightly. Those boys are cooking. So I'm thanking you guys just for showing support to that 2.5-hour video, and I hope you guys enjoy the ones that are coming. So looking back at the ending of the last manga chapter, one thing becomes very clear when you look at it, which is Boruto's back is now up against the wall and it's pretty high right now. He has just saved Himawari from Jura and then turned around and teleported Himawari with him to Sarada's location, and the battle lines appear to be set as we move into the next chapter. However, I think we need to take a look at the rather interesting timing that we have with Boruto saving Himawari. He just happened to step in to save her right after we learn that while Himawari might be in possession of a large amount of power, she is running into a problem. She cannot properly use it, even though she has a high potential and basically is operating off of instinct as she's fighting. As Kurama says, that alone is not enough to take down someone as strong as Jura. Now all of a sudden we see Himawari back with Boruto, and we're seeing that Boruto is about to face Hidari in battle, and I don't think any of this was done by mistake. Going back to Boruto Naruto Next Generations, we learned that Himawari was leaning towards becoming a shinobi because she wanted to help Boruto, especially after seeing her mother break down into tears over the thought of Boruto dying again and potentially never coming back home. In the time since then, she had her memory altered to believe Boruto was the adopted kid who killed her parents and is on the run away from the village itself. Yet in spite of all of this, and having spent the last 3 years training with Team 10 to grow stronger, Himawari reveals that she still deep down inside of her heart believes that Boruto is not the person that everyone's saying he is, and that a part of her, for whatever unexplained reason, still wants to help him, even though she knows that she shouldn't feel this way, and she fully expects the members of Team 10 to be upset with her for sharing her feelings, hence she was completely apprehensive when doing so. Now we fast forward, she's just been saved by Boruto, and while she is unconscious, she's likely not staying unconscious, which means she is very likely going to wake up seeing Boruto battling Hidari and learn that Boruto went out of his way to save her, and he saved Sarada as well. Someone who has no ties to the village and was only seemingly obsessed with Naruto, who everyone says is dead. They would never think to act in such a way, and yet here is Boruto acting in a manner that a lot of people would be viewing as him being out of character. That should be something that catches Himawari's attention, and should be a moment where that little pint-sized runt Damon once again looks like a prophet for what he told Kawaki a few chapters ago, which is that once those awakened Shinju start making their way into the village and they're asking for Naruto, that Kawaki would be running a risk of being exposed, and there wouldn't be anything to stop that from happening. This would be another domino effect, but even more so if Boruto does what a lot of people in the fandom are expecting, which is leave the battlefield after either beating back Hidari and Jura, if he does show up that is, or he takes things a step further. If Boruto realizes Sarada and Himawari, they're now the targets of the awakened Shinju, it's possible he just takes them away to safety, which he would have every reason to want to do so, because in spite of Himawari having no memory of it, he is still her big brother, and he is still someone who has a protective nature when it comes to her. And Boruto, his reason for wanting to save Sarada and have her taken to safety, it goes back to his promise to Sasuke to look out for Sarada and make sure that nothing happens to her. They're no longer safe in the village right now, especially someone like Sarada, who we know based on the lines in the manga isn't supposed to leave the residence where Ada and Damon are guarded at. The few times we did see her leave, we see that she still go right back to the house. she doesn't appear to have the luxury to leave the village and go on missions, and there's nothing that has been said that says she's doing the same thing that we know for certain Sakura did during the 2.5-year time skip between Naruto Volume 27 and 28, where Sakura was confirmed to have snuck out of the village several times during that 2.5-year time skip, searching for Orochimaru's hideouts, looking for clues about Sasuke, looking into information regarding the Akatsuki and Itachi. If Sarada stayed there in the village, she'd basically be a sitting duck. This is doubly so for Himawari, who isn't even a shinobi yet based on what we've seen. She's training, but she doesn't appear to have a ninja headband, so we can't say for certain unless the Boruto database says otherwise, or we get an update in the manga character profile that says she is a ninja now. It's the same logic as we've seen before, where the way that Tsunade kept Naruto out of the crosshairs of the Akatsuki was to have him taken by Jiraiya when he was 13, and then he was kept out the village after being constantly on the move for 2.5 years, and she had Naruto go out on missions for a regular basis to make it hard to peg down his movements in the 6 months that passed between Naruto returning to the village after 2.5 years and when Jiraiya finally ended up dying. Yes, there's a 6-month time gap, throwing that out there because for whatever reason, a lot of people miss that. So we have the ingredients here because Boruto is still in contact with Ino and Shikamaru via the mind transmission jutsu. It doesn't take long for him to link back up and explain that he's taking the pair with him to leave, and Shikamaru is able to come up with an appropriate cover story, likely going with the whole mythos being added to Boruto the traitor not being satisfied enough with killing the Hokage and his wife, but now he's running off with the last person with Uchiha clan blood and Himawari, who has awakened Kurama's chakra. But that comes with other issues via Ada having the Semigon and her treaty with Boruto as a reminder for her to not use her eyes to locate Boruto or assist in hunting him down. That's all done because Boruto returned to the village. It was always conditional, so she's under no further obligation to refuse to use her eyes if this happens. However, this is where it does get very interesting, which is the fact that Himawari's limits, they've now been shown in her battle with Jura, and the idea of Boruto having her, it opens up the possibility of Boruto choosing to take her under his wing and directly start training her. He has the incentive to do so. She's no longer safe in Konoha, and any training that she gets from sparring with Team 10 or potentially getting weaker just by being in proximity to Kawaki, who stays getting his ass whooped every other chapter, it is going to pale in comparison to what she would gain by being around Boruto, the super duper extra millionaire mega chad. Also, you have these situations where she's not only safer with him, but that time together, it starts raising suspicions about something that she already has, in that her belief that people, they have the wrong idea about Boruto. There are a few bombs that could start going off at this point. Omnipotence, it isn't as easy as, hey, this is the truth and it's all over. As Momoshiki and Boruto have each told us, it doesn't work that way. It is not a genjutsu. Being told the truth, it doesn't make your memories suddenly revert back to how they used to be. Instead, it requires you to ignore the voice in the back of your mind that's telling you, hey fam, just accept everything in front of you as being the truth. Trust me, bro. And it requires you to actively suppress the urge to believe your memories over what your eyes are seeing. Himawari has already shown flashes of not buying what it is that she's seeing take place. And that brings us to the other wild card in this whole situation, a Chekhov's gun potentially, Kurama. Based on what we can gather, Kurama appears to have all of his memories from his past life. He knows that he was inside of Naruto before. He knows he was inside of Kushina. He knows he was inside of Mito Uzumaki. He knows he's currently inside of Himawari. He knows who Himawari is, that she is Naruto's child. But does he know that Boruto is Naruto's child as well? Was he affected by omnipotence as well too? If the answer to those questions is yes, then hey, nothing really changes here, and it wouldn't make sense. Omnipotence uses chakra to manipulate the memories of people, so the same thing should apply to Biju, who are chakra themselves in a physical body. However, if this does not apply, and Kurama does know the truth, then that means that somewhere Damon is probably laughing when he finds out that Himawari learns the truth that Kawaki is a fraud. Chakra, it contains memories. The idea of Kurama going, wait a minute, you don't realize that Boruto is your real brother? And then showing her the memories that he has of her and Boruto growing up in the same house. It's enough to make things get very, very messy very quickly, which as a writer, that's what you want. And Himawari, while she might not be a fighter, she's shown that she has really good instincts when it comes to her gut being right. She doesn't just accept things that people tell her because they say this is the way they are, they've always been, and in that respect, she is everything that a shinobi is supposed to be. She is someone who sees through deception, even though she herself doesn't realize, hey, something wrong is going on here. It's enough to mess with her head and start having her put all these different pieces together. She'd be doing the same thing that Sasuke did, where he started to suspect that his memories, they were altered and he was freaking out that he couldn't trust his mind anymore. However, if that were to happen to Himawari, she'd have Kurama there. And if he isn't affected, that's a dependable voice in her mind, walking her through everything and helping her process the information that would otherwise spin her mind out of control. To use a literature example to help explain what I'm saying, Kurama would be a reliable narrator in this instance. So in some stories, the character or a narrator, they are either a reliable narrator or an unreliable narrator, unless the narrator is consistently an unbiased, omnipotent third party who knows all things that are going on and is consistently in a story that is using free indirect discourse, then their credibility, it can be called into question. The same with characters who have shown their knowledge base is limited only to what information they have, and you question it based on how consistent they have been. How consistently have they been right? Like for example, Kawaki, he isn't the most reliable narrator in comparison to Amato, who while Amato definitely lies, he has a track record of statements and how he's been presented. He withholds information, but for the most part, Amato is always right. It'll be very interesting to see how this does get positioned and what Boruto's choice is regarding Himawari. I personally think that this is the best thing to do, to take Himawari and Sarada and just get the hell out the village, even though it puts an even bigger target on his back. Just like I think it's the best thing to do to check out this Every Dragon God and Fairy Tail 100-Year Quest video, which is safe for anime-only viewers of the Fairy Tail anime to watch. So click here if you want a detailed breakdown of the new antagonist. And over here on the right, we have another Naruto Explained video to peep if you want more Naruto or Boruto content, depending on what I put up on the screen.